Shalom, shalom. My name is Yuwatazak. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. And, before we even get anything, I'm going to give honor and glory to my power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. And double honors to the elders at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. And double honors to the Akim who sincerely are pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth. You know what I mean? The hopeful elect, Shalom, keep enduring because, our salvation is closer than what we first believed. Just as a little testimony, the Lord had always kept me at a point where I was never far from, the scriptures. Like, I remember I was 6 or 7 years old, and I was in a Christian school called Grace Baptist. And, I didn't really have nobody to push me to, take my hand, gotta go up to the altar and get saved. Like, I just was always around it. So I started asking, like, what is God about? What's God? The whole Christian saved thing at like 7 years old, that didn't really change nothing as far as what I knew or anything. I was still just a nigga, still lost. But I remember even still, like, I was around 13 years old and I was in the church. I was like an usher and shit, you know what I mean? And at an early age, I had stopped listening to the pastors as far as, when they get on that hooping and hollering and all that bullshit. I was really into the scriptures. I've always been one who could digest knowledge that others couldn't. So when I was about 13 years old, I just so happened to be on Deuteronomy 28. And, matter of fact, let me just get the scripture. And this is the scripture that I read, But this is Deuteronomy 28:68. It says, I'm going to start at 67. It says, in the morning you will say, if only it were evening. And in the evening you will say, if only it were morning, because of the dread in your heart of the terrifying sights you will see. And the Lord will return you to Egypt in ships by a route that I said you should never see again. There you will sell yourselves to your enemies as male and female slaves, but no man will buy you. Okay? Now, when I read that at age 13, I said out of my mouth verbally, nobody wasn't really talking to nobody, but I said, hey, that's us. That's the black people in America. And I had no idea about Israelites or nothing, and, not to try to sound pompous or put myself on any type of pedestal or nothing like that. But it just goes to show that the Lord is good and merciful, like he really is like a loving power because, even in my folly, even in my wickedness, the Lord never like completely cut me off. You know what I mean? He kept me close to the word, even if it was through like, you know what I mean? Like the same way he did our people in general, though we was in our calamity during the slave trade and as slaves in America, even though they tried to, cut up the Bible and, give us the slave Bible, which you should do your research on the slave Bible and try to twist words so that they mean something else. The Lord was still keeping, us close to him because, some of the slaves knew that they was Israel's. A lot of the slaves had the zeal, but just didn't have the knowledge. And that because of the songs that we were singing, swing low, sweet chariot coming for to carry me home. And, you know, I'm not even going to get into that, but, you know, we at a point in time where, you know, you got to accept it, man. You know, like I said, you know, going back to the verse here, Deuteronomy 28:68, it says, the Lord will return you to Egypt in ships by way that you'll never see it again. All right. And so if you have any understanding of the story of Moses, then you understand that we walked out of Egypt. You don't need ships to go to Egypt. You know what I mean? And by the way, that word Egypt right there, if you do go into the etymology, you know, Egypt, I'm not even gonna start talking like it's my word. I'm just gonna go right to the scripture. Bear with me. I'm usually use my phone, but I'm recording on it, so I gotta use my desktop. You know, give me a second. So this is Exodus 20:2. I, the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. All right. So what does the word Egypt mean? It means the house of bondage. Okay. So let's go back to Deuteronomy 28:68 says, the Lord will return you to Egypt in ships and you'll never see your homeland again. And I'm paraphrasing for understanding. So basically the Lord is saying is that I will carry you back into the house of bondage, okay? And you'll never see your homeland again. And that's what happened, you know? I'm not going to get too deep into the history, but you'll find that the house of Israel was divided into two separate kingdoms, the northern and the southern kingdom. And one of those consisting of the lighter tribes, the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, you know, they already migrated to this side of the world. You know, during the time of whom the world refers to as Jesus and a lot of the New Testament, it was only the darker tribes, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, who was left over here. And so it was a prophecy, however, that all Israel would serve slavery together. So it was only right that once you know, history went on, the conquistadors went right over there, found those Israelites and enslaved them, you know, in the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, South America, Central America, of course, the Seminole Indians in the southern part of the United States, all the way up to the, you know, Navajo and Cherokee on the East Coast, all the way, you know, across the country. So basically, the Lord was... he's not a man that he should lie. And, you know, because of the covenant he made with Israel and us breaking that covenant, we deserve to be punished. And how did he punish us? By putting us back into the house of bondage that he already delivered us from. You know what I mean? So it's like a father tells you, yo, son, you know what I mean? You get good grades in school, and, you know what I mean, your summer going to be popping. I'm going to get you, you know, this, that, and the third. You get to go to this camp. I'm going to buy you this car, whatever. You know what I mean? But if your grades suck, you know, you get F's and D's and shit, then, you know, there's going to be consequences. You know, I'm going to beat that ass. You grounded, whatever. So, you know, and if I could go back a little bit. All right, excuse me, Salakia. Excuse me. Anyway, I'm gonna go right into the hard copy, because then I know the question will be, well, why is it that Why is it that God is doing this to his people? All right. What covenant is it that I'm speaking of? So, all right. So in Deuteronomy 28, in the beginning of 28, it says, it shall come to pass, and if the voice hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So, number one, God is only the person or the entity that the world refers to as God is the God of the Bible, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. He's not really, he's the God of everything, but he's not the God that, he didn't choose any other nation but Israel. And I got a precept to back that up. You know, just to land on that. That's a whole topic in itself, but we're gonna just run this through real quick. All right, this is all right, so this is Isaiah 14:1. It's a perfect one too. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Israel." All right. And the people, verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to that place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captive, and whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Okay, so and then going right back to Deuteronomy 28, verse 1, it says it, I'm reiterate, and it shall come to pass, if thou hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And as you can see right here in Isaiah 14, verse 2, it says, "And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for the servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captive, whom's captive they were." So, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So who oppressed the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans? You know what I mean? Like, I don't even got to answer that question. You know, I'm going to pose it for thought. You know what I mean? So basically, when we got over here, it was fulfilling prophecy that the Lord would chastise and punish Israel for the things that we went off on. Okay, and I'm going to jump to 28:15. "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." You know, and one of those curses was that we would come back into slavery. You know what I mean? But it's not the Lord's will necessarily that we be on the bottom. You know, we the ones who broke the covenant of the Most High, and so we deserve the things that are happening to us. Okay, we deserve the Lord unleashing his whooping stick, his so-called how, you know, us from the old school, we used to have to deal with the switch. You know what I mean? This is kind of, the white man is kind of like the Lord's switch, you know what I mean? Because he chastised his sons, you know, he chastised his people. Okay, this is Amos 3:2. "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for your iniquities." All right, so we on this side serving slavery, going through all the hell that we going through all the personal hell we going through, because the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the true Hebrew Israelites, we broke the covenant of the Most High. And with that, I'm going to just say shalom, and more to come, man. You know, All praises call out to Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. All right? Shalom.